Hi guys, it's Vix from New Age Hipster, and this is a deck review for Susie Coyote's Okanagan Oracle, and I hope I'm saying that right. I did Google it and try to find somebody who was pronouncing it, and Okanagan is what came up. I don't know. I hope that is correct. So this is a 58 card oracle deck for contemplation, meditation, and divination, featuring inspiring keywords and beautiful imagery from the Okanagan Valley and surrounding areas. And this is made, as I said, by Susie Coyote. And I will post the link below for where you can get that. She sells it on her website, but also on Etsy. So I will post those below. So this isn't an unboxing because I have already unboxed this. I went to Soul Circus Festival last weekend and I came home and it was here waiting for me, and I just thought, you know what, I need to just open this and have a bit of a play right now, right here and now. I could not wait to do the unboxing, but I thought I would share it with you guys on here as a little deck review, because I've got to tell you, I freaking love it. I'm absolutely in love with it. I've only had it for like what, 4 days or something, but it really feels really special and really amazing. And so I wanted to share it with you guys so that you could check it out for yourself, and if you feel called to, maybe even grab one from Susie. So this is an independent self-published deck, as is my deck that I've created, as are many of the amazing decks that are out there at the moment. I am a huge fan of the independent decks. I think there are so many people out there making absolutely amazing things, and as much as there are many traditionally published decks that I adore as well, I think there's really something special about having a deck that really is aligned with the person who created its intention. You know, there's no publisher, there's no agent, there's nobody getting in the way of like, oh, don't put that card in, do this, do that. You know, it's just like purely from that person's intention, and I feel like that's really powerful. And this deck is really powerful. So this card, let's start with this card. So it's all photography. It's Susie's photos from the Okanagan, which I hope I'm saying right, Valley in, I believe that it's in British Columbia, in Canada. And this card is actually one that I've had sat on my altar, and so that's why it's flipped over. I pulled this the other day when I just sort of asked for a card, you know, what energy do I need to be working with right now, and it was hilarious that it was rejuvenate, because that sort of message has been coming up for me a lot lately. So yeah, but as you can see, it's photography, it's beautiful. I was having a chat with Susie about it once I'd received it, and I said to her, like, I really feel like this deck is kind of like a sister deck to my deck. Not to say in any way that it's the same, because it's not. Like, the energy is completely different, but there's something about this deck that kind of feels like, I honestly think it's just because you know, me and Susie come from a similar place. Like, we come from, not physically, but but just like, you know, like how we see the world and how we create and things. It's sort of there's a similar energy between us, I feel. And yeah, this kind of felt like, you know, my deck meeting a long lost, well, not really long lost relative, but you know, like a distant cousin, I think is what I said to her on Instagram. So this is my deck, just to show you guys. So, I mean, it's obviously very different, but I have also used photography in my deck. And I think photography, you know, some people have a real resistance to decks that use a lot of photography. The reason that I used photography was, first of all, I just felt really called to, but also I'm not really a visual artist, and I really wanted to create something, and I didn't want to just use stock images, so that was the route that I went down. But this isn't about my deck or me, this is about Susie's amazing deck. So let's have a look, and let's have a little play as well, and we'll pull some cards. I'll do a little reading for you guys as well. So I love the backs as well. I think they're really beautiful, and they really lend themselves nicely to reversals as well. And I don't know like how you want to use this deck. There really aren't. There's no instructions with it. There's nothing. You know, there's nothing. There is no book. It doesn't come with a book. My deck doesn't come with a book. I feel like more and more of us are just like, hey, here's some cards. You know, do what feels right for you with this deck. But if you did want to use reversals with it, you could really easily, and the backs really lend themselves to that as well. I love this card. I actually posted it on Instagram the other day. So they've all got a keyword, and they've all got a photo. I have stalked this deck quite a lot online on Instagram, and I think I actually favorited it on Susie's Etsy store for like ages, for a really, really long time, before it made its way into my hot little hands. But it's so beautiful, and it's such a beautiful part of the world as well, and I do really have a connection with Canada. I have a lot of my family who spent a lot of time there over the generations, and I spent a little bit of time there as well a few years ago, and I do really feel like it's a sort of, well, I mean, I grew up in Australia, but my family's, well, they're sort of from all over, but I've got like the UK connection, and that one is just gorgeous. It's so beautiful. But yeah, I do feel a real draw to Canada. The times that I've spent there I've absolutely loved, and I've just felt really at home. I love the devotion card. I think that's so powerful. Isn't it beautiful? I mean, it's beautiful photos, but it's a beautiful part of the world, which certainly helps. Some of my photos in my deck are taken in places that aren't probably as beautiful as this. But you know, that's life. But yeah, this deck is certainly making me want to go on a trip, and this card is absolutely stunning as well. I love that so much. It's so funny too, because I knew about this deck before I made my deck, but I hadn't seen it. I hadn't really, you know, I hadn't worked with it. I hadn't gone through it, but it's really quite interesting, like how some of the cards, like Susie's got a gateway card and I've got a portal card, but neither of us had seen the other person's deck when we made our deck. So I think it's really cool how that's kind of happened. And I think that's part of the reason why I feel really drawn to this deck, and why I also feel like it's kind of a sister deck to my deck, because even though we hadn't seen each other's work, we kind of have created something I feel like it's got a similar energy, but it's also very, very different energy as well. I love this so much. I just think it's freaking amazing, and the energy behind it is just, it feels really beautiful. It feels like it's come from a really beautiful place. I feel like this deck is so funny. It's come up with healing. I was gonna say, I feel like this deck's gonna be really good for healing, for healing work, for general sort of oracle cards, a sort of a general oracle deck. I know there's a lot of oracle decks out there that sort of like specialize in an area, you know, like it's an oracle deck for romance or for work or whatever, but I feel like this is just a really nice general one that kind of has messages about lots of different things, and I also feel like it's going to be a really nice companion working with the tarot as well. Okay, so let's pull some cards. I feel like we're going to do a 3-card reading. And so the intention of this reading is, well, it's sort of just to play with the deck and have a little play around, but let's set the intention as well that this reading is for anybody who comes across it. And we're going to pull 3 cards. And we just want this reading to really help us to know whatever it is that we need to know in this moment. So I'm going to pull a card for us, where we are right now. This is going to be our blocks and challenges, and the final card is going to be how to move out of those blocks and challenges, how to get to the next place. Okay, so this is where we are right now. Reflect. I have to admit that's not a bad place to be. But this also really feels to me like this is a point of reflection. So this isn't right now an energy that we're in, is not an energy of rushing forward, making things happen. It's water energy, you know, and water energy often asks us to reflect and consider what we want, where we've been, who we are, what feelings are coming up for us, what our feelings are trying to tell us at the moment. But I also feel like this is a big message for us to really acknowledge all of the wonderful things that we've achieved and all of the wonderful things that have happened in our life. So even if it feels to you at the moment like things aren't really moving forward as fast as you would like, just stop and chill and just spend your energy right now focused on all of the amazing things that you have done and that have happened in your life. So this card is our blocks and challenges. Oh, this is interesting. So this is the Imagine card. I love this, like Nessie, it's so cool. So one of the blocks and challenges that's coming up for us at the moment is around what we can really believe is true for us and what we can really believe could possibly be true for our path and our lives. And sometimes when we're feeling like we're not moving forward, like the Reflect card kind of feels like, you know, maybe we're not all moving forward as fast or as quickly as we'd like. We're not at that place where we'd like to be just yet, although I gotta admit I wouldn't mind being there. There is a feeling here that part of the reason for that is that we're really not letting ourselves imagine, we're really not letting ourselves really believe and imagine the possibilities of what we could really do and where we could really go. And I know this is something that I struggle with in terms of, you know, just kind of busting those blocks, those money blocks, abundance blocks, success blocks, all of that kind of stuff. A lot of it comes down to the fact that we actually don't allow ourselves to really imagine what we could really do. And they're also saying to imagine without attachment. So sometimes when we do visualizations and we do this manifesting from the place of, let's manifest from the place of like visualizing the specifics and exactly what we want, and then holding that in our mind to bring it to us. Sometimes that really works. And sometimes it doesn't, because sometimes we get so focused on just one thing being the thing for us that we kind of lose sight of all of the other possibilities and all of the other opportunities and other things around for us. So yeah, really, really starting to kind of use your imagination and use that. Really be, they keep saying like beliefs is what keeps coming up, you know, like changing your beliefs, really noticing what you really believe about yourself and about your path, and imagining something different, but also letting go of any kind of really like grippy attachment to the future, because we all know things usually work out very different than what we plan or what we visualize in our meditations. At least for me, that's true. Anyway, okay, so this card will give us some more information about how to work with these energies. And we have got Cherish. Oh, this is so beautiful. So this really feels like it's about cherishing our path and cherishing our own unique path, which can sometimes be very hard because we often like to question our path, and we often like to look at other people's paths and say, oh, but I'm not doing as well as that person, or I'm not doing the same thing as them, etc., etc. But this really is about cherishing ourselves and cherishing our own paths and really seeing the beauty in our own journey without comparison, without making it a competition. And to really trust and know that when we aren't receiving the things that we're trying to manifest, that usually there's a lot more going on there for us than just, well, you're a shit manifester, or you didn't deserve it, or you did something wrong. There's usually a lot more going on there. So I really feel like this this cherish energy. Really, to me, it really feels like self-love and self-care at the moment, especially in terms of our manifesting. Well, that was a pretty cool reading, I think, for, you know, what is essentially 3 photos and keywords. Like, and it's not 3 photos and keywords, you know, there's so much more to this deck than that, but the amount of stuff that you can get out of this kind of deck is just quite incredible. And so I feel very, very blessed and very grateful that this deck has come into my life, because I really, really love it. Like, I just think it's beautiful. It's just, the energy is so nice. And I love that there's no borders. I really love a borderless deck. It's just got such a beautiful energy, and yeah, there's so much that we could do with this deck. You know, it's not just about pulling some cards, but it's, you know, I feel like it's going to be really useful for things like, well, pulling a card from myself. I want to find that one and put it back on my altar. My Rejuvenate card. I feel like there's probably going to be plenty of these cards that end up on my altar, which says a lot, because not all cards make it onto my altar. And I also feel like it's going to be really nice for reflection, for meditation, for just sort of, you know, okay, what energy am I working with today? And just kind of turning over a card and going, okay, rejuvenate. That's what I need to focus on right now, or, you know, whatever it is that comes up for you. So do go and check it out. This is Susie Coyote's Okanagan Oracle. And if you would like to grab a reading with me, we can definitely throw some of these cards into the mix if you would like me to, and you can find out how to grab yourself one by checking out all of the deets below. And I am sending you so much love and light.